Vast night sky, stars shimmering in slow motion, galaxies turning like silent wheels. Soft ambient drone or sparse piano notes drift in the background, like distant memories. Occasional whispers of wind or echoing breaths barely audible beneath the music. What is a life? A question older than language itself, scrawled on cave walls in charcoal and ochre, murmured over the dying embers of fires long extinguished. It echoed through the stone halls of ancient temples, etched into papyrus and parchment, whispered by monks, poets, and dreamers. It lingers in lullabies and last words, in the space between a heartbeat and a breath. What is a life? Is it the sum of our choices? The people we love? The stories we leave behind? Tonight, we don't seek an answer, not one etched in stone or bound in certainty. Instead, we begin a journey, a quiet exploration of the question itself, to follow its trail across time, thought, and soul, to listen, to wonder, and perhaps, to remember something we always knew. A baby's fingers curling, waves crashing, ancient scrolls unrolling, crowds in city streets, a single tear down a cheek. An endless night sky. Stars flicker in slow motion. Galaxies turn like ancient wheels. Time feels suspended. A soft piano melody drifts through the silence like a forgotten memory. What is a life? A question older than civilization, whispered in the dark by firelight, traced on the walls of caves, carried through centuries on parchment and breath, found in a child's first gaze, and in the final stillness of an old soul's eyes. The journey begins not to find an answer, but to feel the question, to follow its echo through time, through thought, through heart, to listen, to remember. Images flow. A baby's hand curls instinctively, waves crash on an empty shore. A mystic sits in silence. A young person walks into the night, eyes lifted. Words carved in ancient stone resurface. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates. But what does it mean to examine life? To open the eyes? To see what lies beneath routine? To peel back the quiet assumptions we carry? To step outside inherited beliefs and look again? Time accelerates. A city swells, crowds rushing, faces blurred. Then, one person stops, looks up, breathes. To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, that is all. Oscar Wilde. To exist is to survive. To live is to awaken. And the space between the two is not measured in distance, but in attention, in stillness, in the courage to ask, and the silence to feel what answers begin to rise. A seed falls into dark soil. Rain trickles down. A time-lapse reveals the miracle. Roots searching downward, a sprout pushing upward. Slow, silent determination. Life unfolding. Beneath the surface, under microscopes, another world awakens. Cells divide with purpose. Structures form. Membranes, nuclei, spirals of DNA twisting like ancient scripts. Life, at its smallest, is astonishingly ordered. Scientists define it not by poetry, but by function, organization, the cell, the molecule, the code. A hierarchy of structure, from the simplest bacteria to the complexity of a thinking brain. Metabolism, molecules in motion, breaking, building, exchanging energy. The invisible dance that powers every breath, every step. Homeostasis, balance, always on the brink. Temperature, pH, heartbeat, breath. A constant negotiation to remain alive. Growth and reproduction. From one, many. From many, continuity. Life extends itself, again and again. Response to stimuli. A single-celled organism recoils, a hand pulls from flame, pupils widen in the dark. Awareness flickers, even in the simplest forms. These are the rules written in textbooks. The measurable signs. The checklist that tells us, yes, this is life. And yet, they tell us what life does, not why it matters. The seed grows because it must. The cell divides because it is programmed to. But somewhere between motion and meaning, between the spark and the breath, something more begins to whisper. A question rises again. Not just what is life, but what is it for? And in that silence, biology becomes not just the study of how we live, but a doorway into why we long to. A shoreline at dawn. The sky is pale with the first breath of morning. Waves roll in rhythm, eternal and indifferent. A solitary figure walks the line between water and earth, footsteps disappearing almost as quickly as they form. The question returns, quiet, insistent. What is a person, if not the sum of their choices? So asked Jean-Paul Sartre, as the world reeled from war and meaning fell into question. If life is a canvas, then choices, both sweeping and imperceptible, are the brushstrokes. To love, or to retreat, to speak, or to remain silent, to build something new, or simply consume what exists, to hope, or to surrender to the weight of doubt. Each day offers 1,000 quiet crossroads. Most pass unnoticed, and yet, over time, they form a pattern, like tide marks on stone, like constellations in the night. Is life then no more than this mosaic of choices, shaped by habit, culture, fear, desire? Are we merely a sum of reactions, guided by shifting winds? Or is there something deeper that threads them together? A current beneath the surface? Not fate, perhaps, but meaning. Chosen, created, or maybe remembered. The figure on the beach pauses, looks out to the horizon. A single bird flies low over the water. The sun crests the edge of the sea, and for a moment, everything, sky, wave, breath, feels aligned, not with certainty, but with presence. And in that moment, life is not just a string of choices, but a quiet, defiant yes to being. A montage unfolds, temples carved into mountainsides, incense rising in the still air of a meditation hall, candles flickering inside a cathedral, a muezzin's call echoing across rooftops, sacred dances performed beneath open skies. Across continents and centuries, humanity has turned to story, ritual, and reverence to make sense of life, not just as biology, not merely as choice, but as mystery. In Hinduism, life is part of an eternal rhythm, samsara, birth, death, rebirth. A soul journeys through forms, learning, shedding, returning. Every breath echoes the divine. Every action weaves karma into the soul's unfolding fabric. In indigenous traditions, the earth itself is alive. Rivers are ancestors. Trees, teachers. Mountains do not just rise. They remember. To live is to walk in relationship with all things, to see spirit not as separate, but as present in all. In the silence of a Zen monastery, life is found not in answers, but in the stillness between thoughts. One breath, one step, one bowl of rice, the sacred hidden in the simple. And in modern secular societies, life is often defined by autonomy, by choice. The right to be, to express, to pursue meaning in one's own image. It is measured in freedom, identity, progress, purpose. All of these are lenses, crafted by culture, shaped by time. Each one reveals a different facet of the human longing to understand. Why are we here? What does it mean to be alive? And yet, no single story, no single faith or philosophy can contain it all. Life resists confinement. It spills over boundaries, dances between definitions, belongs to both the mystic and the scientist, the believer and the doubter, the sacred and the ordinary. Perhaps the purpose of these traditions is not to give one answer, but to remind us of the vastness of the question. A collage of faces, voices, and moments. A child laughs as bubbles float through sunlight. A painter's hands, stained with pigment, move instinctively across canvas. A lab notebook filled with scribbled equations and wonder. A weathered hand holds a faded photograph, eyes tracing a memory only they can see. Life wears a different shape for each of us. To a child, life is wonder, the thrill of first steps on shaky legs, the mystery of language forming for the first time, the way shadows stretch and fireflies glow, as if the whole world is brand new, every single day. To an artist, life is color and tension, the dance between chaos and form, expression blooming from silence, pain reshaped into beauty, grief poured into melody, hope carved into stone. To a scientist, life is a question that deepens with every answer. It is the thrill of discovery, the precision of observation, and the humble awe of realizing that the more we learn, the more vast the unknown becomes. To someone who has faced loss, life becomes both razor-sharp and unspeakably fragile. Every sunrise a gift, every goodbye a wound, each breath a fragile defiance against the void. That a woman planting a garden alone, a boy looking through a telescope, an old man laughing with his granddaughter, a dancer leaping in slow motion. From a street interview, a voice. Life to me is a series of small miracles, like waking up to a sunrise you've never seen before. Each voice, a different key. Each life, a singular thread. Woven together, they form a tapestry no two eyes can see the same. No philosopher can fully define. No culture can fully contain. Because a life is not a concept. It is a story, lived in seconds and seasons, told through choices and chances, made sacred by the fact that it ends. And in the end, perhaps that is what gives it shape. Not a universal truth, but a personal one, felt, known, carried. Life is a short song, wrote Seneca, and we owe it not to outside noises but to ourselves. We are creatures of time, bound by beginnings and endings. Every breath we take, every heartbeat, is a quiet reminder that nothing lasts forever. Leaves fall not because they are broken, but because the cycle demands it. Sand slips through the hourglass not to rush us, but to remind us. This moment is all we truly have. There is a strange beauty in knowing that all things pass. The fleeting nature of life gives it shape, depth, and urgency. Without endings, beginnings would feel hollow. Without the ache of loss, how would we ever recognize the gift of what is? Impermanence is not our enemy. It is the invisible thread that stitches meaning into every sunrise, every goodbye, every tear, and every triumph. And so we ask, in the face of this inevitable passing, how do we summon the courage to live deeply, fully now? We do it by saying yes to the moment, even as it slips away. By loving without clinging, creating without fearing the end, walking forward even as the path dissolves behind us. To live well is not to escape transience, but to embrace it, to dance as the leaves fall, to speak while the hourglass runs down, to love knowing we might lose. Because only in losing do we learn what it meant to truly hold. So, What is a life? It is, first, a biological miracle, a fleeting configuration of atoms and cells, arising from billions of years of chance, chemistry, and evolution. In each heartbeat echoes the rhythm of stars and stardust. In each breath, the inheritance of ancestors who survived, adapted, endured. Yet it is not only matter. A life is also an existential canvas, blank at birth, gradually filled with color and texture by our choices. Each decision a brushstroke, each moment of courage, of failure, of love, shaping what we become. There is no script handed down from the sky. We are the authors, and the ink is always wet. But no life unfolds in isolation. We are born into cultures, languages, and myths. We are wrapped in stories, those told by our elders, our communities, our civilizations. Rituals, symbols, and shared dreams weave us into something greater, a tapestry of meaning that stretches across generations. Life, then, is a cultural inheritance we carry and redefine. And beyond all of this, life is deeply personal. No two journeys are the same. The terrain we walk, the loves we cherish, the burdens we carry, each experience carves us into something singular. Your life is not a copy. It is an original, a one-time constellation in the vastness of being. So, what is a life? It is all of these. And perhaps, above all, it is an act of meaning-making, your response to an indifferent universe. Not given, but created. Not found, but forged. Life is the art of turning chaos into coherence, chance into choice, time into legacy. And in the end, its value is not measured by how long it lasts, but by how fully it is lived. The question remains, what is a life? Maybe the answer is not found in words, but in the moments we dare to be alive. In love, in wonder, in creation, in connection. Here's a bit of advice. Try not to overthink life, and take good care of yourself.